this one tonight, but it burned them in the game they lost to the Eagles after they gave up a big lead. We're going to kick for the win and had a field goal blocked and taken back the other way to clinch the game in favor of Philly in that one a couple of weeks ago. So it's funny to see, to your point, everybody in the Bay is always kind of, the Niners don't care about special teams, blah, 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 blah. It's literally the exact same thing down in Southern California as it relates to the Rams, and the Rams believe they should be 5-0 and would be if they cared about special teams.
808 KMBR 415-808-5627, the number to call and the number to text on the Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line. 415 checks in and says, amazing win. One question. When they recovered the fumble at the 1, I assume they're talking about the Alfred Collins pop-out. What did you think of running it 3 times? A first down there pretty much ices it. I'm of the belief that you can't throw it in that position when the opposition has 3 timeouts. Where the 49ers were, the goal in that situation is see if you can break through. You got to get the clock moving. But secondary in that situation is make sure the Rams have no way to stop the clock without clocking it if, in fact, they're getting the ball back. You punted it away to him at 53 seconds left. McVay had to burn all 3 of his timeouts. I don't love the situation, but I'm not throwing it there. I'm not giving McVay 1 timeout with an opportunity to try to hit a game-winning touchdown. And they almost did, by the way.
I'm not either.
I'm okay with running it the way they did.
I would have run it 3 times.
Also, you throw a pick there, you're a host. I mean, again, you can lose the game on that play, too.
You're really between a rock and a hard place, though, because of the fact that they only need a field goal. So if you throw it and you give them, in essence, an extra timeout, you're enhancing the chances that you get beat because they have more time to advance it with the timeout to potentially score the touchdown.
Right.
I also think if you throw it, you're in a position where if it's an incomplete pass, it's almost a lock at that point that they get the field goal. So to me, you at least play the time game with them, and you make them use the timeout to where at least the clock is running. So if they do hit some plays in an attempt to set up the field goal, they're at least running out the clock. If they have you're almost 1 sack away or 1 bad penalty away from really putting them behind the 8 ball in a big way.
You're 1 bad snap, 1 bad penalty, 1 bad. I mean, again, you don't want to go half the distance to the goal. You don't want to commit a penalty there in the end zone and get a safety and then punt it back to him with a chance to kick a field goal. Too much can go wrong for me if you drop back and try to pass.
I actually think if you're out a little bit farther, even the 15 or the 20, I think then at that point, because you have the opportunity to punt them a little bit deeper, if you do have to punt, then it's worth it because they would have to go a lot farther, thus mitigating the impact of them having that 1 timeout. I just think that's a tough call. I do not think that was a weak decision. I know there was a lot, that's weak and no guts and blah, 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 blah.
Our guy Bonte in the press box at one point stood up and turned around and said to me, he should have thrown it. And I was like, I don't think so, man. I think you got to run it and make sure McVay uses his timeouts. And by the way, it worked out. I mean, he had to kick a field goal there with 2 seconds remaining.
And too much can go wrong, man, on the 1 yard, on the 2 yard line.
You don't want to. You get a holding penalty there in the end.
You get a safety. We've already seen that. And the Niners overcame it against the Cardinals.
You guys want to punt it away? You want to deal with special teams away?
And then lose on a field goal because it's a 1-point game at that point.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that with the game on the line. 808 KMBR is the number to call. Bruce is in San Jose. Bruce, you're on the Sports Leader. What's going on, man?
Yeah, hello, gentlemen. Yeah, Niners. I called in specifically to talk about our man Eddie Dinero Money. Obviously, we got lucky on the bank shot, but that 59-yarder, I know it was in his golf bag, right? But to see him make it gave me, as a fan, confidence. I had to give everyone in Santa Clara at the building confidence. So I think that just affects play calling and just I guess the mojo within the same team.
Hey Bruce, you're talking. Hey Bruce, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, bro. You're talking confidence. You got any of that liquid confidence in you? Is that what's going on?
You know what? I'm a White Claw guy because I stay thirsty. The next day, I get shamed. I get shamed, but the next day,
no shame.
You could handle. Exactly, no shame. Exactly, positive vibes only.
No shame in the game, Bruce.
No, exactly. You can handle 8 to 10. Get that good budget looking for. No sugar, only 100 calories. You can go to work the next day. I don't know. Yeah, I am a little buzzed, and I just did a little Nature's own candy. So yeah,
That boy, little
Niners
hippie
way.
lettuce, little bit of the devil's lettuce. We appreciate the call, Bruce. Thanks so much, man. Yeah, dude, the confidence in Pinheiro is one thing. I mean, I thought that was stones from Kyle to go out and attempt that 59-yard field goal. Because again, you missed that at all. You missed that. I know that Eddie's got it in the bag, and I know that you got to go to the special teams and the kicker, and you got to ask, where's your distance from today? What's the farthest you're feeling good about from today? And Pinheiro knows his body. He knows the field clearly. Weather was pretty chill here today. It was warm. Ball was carrying. He had a few extra yards, by the way, on that 59-yarder.
He did.
And again, maybe there's something to the fact now that he revealed on KMBR last week. You can kick with a ball in a game that you've practiced with. Maybe he's worked it in a little bit better. Bottom line is that's a confidence in a kicker that Kyle Shanahan did not have previously, and that ultimately changed the course of this game. 23-20, they have the lead, and the Rams have to kick one to send it to OT.
That was a risk that I would not have taken on the 59-yarder.
Because
the risk-reward on that is so tricky to that point, because if you don't make it, you're basically allowing them to set up very quickly for a field goal. The
and it was tied
way.
at 20 at that point.
And it was tied at 20. So you're almost setting up them running the clock and you losing the game right there if he doesn't, isn't able to make it. So yeah, it was a hell of a decision. He's got confidence in Eddie, and Eddie, I mean, he made the kick. I mean, he's been everything the 49ers have needed him to be during his time here since joining the club in New Orleans.
Adam Copeland, John Dickinson with you. Following the Niners' overtime win over the L.A. Rams, 808-KMBR, 415-808-5627, the number to call, and the number to text. Plus, we got our live stream up and running. You can stream us video on thesportsleader.com, the TheSportsLeader app, and, of course, on YouTube. Plenty more to come. We'll check in a bit with our guy Larry Krueger. The Niners win at 26-23, and I don't care what anybody says. People are going to start talking about where Mac Jones' future lies with the 49ers. The $53 million man, Brock Purdy, is still waiting in the wings. Should not come back until he's 100%, I think, is kind of where we're at right now. The Niners have got 4 in the bag. More to come, only here on The Sports Leader. Adam Copeland, John Dickinson with you. The Niners win it 26-23 over the LA Rams. I mean, dude, if you had told me again they would be without this many players, and I was listening to some of the Rams, I guess I'd say employees. I don't know if they're part of the broadcast crew or guys behind the scenes here at the stadium. I was in the sort of the broadcast media lounge up here waiting to come on here for the postgame, and they were sitting there looking kind of perplexed at the screen. One guy said, we're lucky we weren't down by more, talking about the Rams being down 20-7 at one point to the Niners. I mean, I thought Kyle called a great game based on what he had at hand. And Tim Ryan told us before the game, this is a mindset game. I mean, this was a game where you had to be ready to play regardless of who you were. I thought a Thursday game maybe leveled the playing field a bit, that no team has much time to prepare. Nothing can be too fancy or complicated. You know each other so well. But for all we've said about the Niners not being able to stop the run, they did pretty damn well today against Kyron Williams in the run game. It's Matt Stafford in the pass game that beat him. And you've got one of the greatest of all time in Devontae Adams as a receiver. You've got great speed in Tutu Atwell. We saw that last week, and he had a huge downfield grab earlier today, late in the game, that set up a game-tying field goal at the end of regulation. You also have Puka Nacua, who's the best receiver in the game right now and trending towards an offensive player of the year. 10 more receptions today for Puka.
Well, and it's crazy because you look at his line and you go, my God, 10 receptions, 85 yards. But the 85 yards is the lowest total yardage that he's had in a game this year. So the 49ers actually did the best job in terms of yardage that anybody's done with Puka Nacua this season, the 85. He had 91 at Tennessee, but he went for 130, 112, 170 in the other three games. So the 49ers able to, in some ways, again, he's going to get the rock because he always does,
yep.
But they held him down to just 85 yards, which is still obviously a lot, but they did better than anybody else had done in these first 5 games of the season.
808 KMBR is the number
and the
to call.
lowest average.
Yeah, 808 KMBR is the number to call and the number to text. By the way, people checking in on the Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line and on our YouTube channel. Check us out streaming video here on thesportsleader.com, the app, and YouTube. Brett checks in on YouTube and says, guys, if the Niners had lost, we'd all have said Kyle should have thrown a slant, at least thrown one short slant instead of 3 consecutive runs from the goal line. Our first down would have ended the game, and KB was on fire. Again, I disagree. Had they lost the game in that situation, after they punted it away and the Rams would have had no timeouts, the Niners got to stop this. So I don't know why we would have said what they should have done when what they did worked out. It worked. I don't know why we would have thought differently had they lost the game. I think they played it right. I think you have to trust the defense to get the stop in that situation. They held them to a field goal. Matt Stafford operated that as brilliantly as he could inside of a minute after they fumbled it at the 1-yard line. If you're a Rams fan, you're grateful you get that opportunity. If you're a 49er fan, I say, how can you throw it there? What if the Rams then come? What if Kyle throws it? Because here's what I'm saying, Brett, the texter or the YouTube chatter here. If Kyle throws it there and it's an incomplete pass and it stops the clock, you're assuming that you pick up the first down. You're saying Kendrick Bourne's been great. Everything's tighter when you're down there. You have fewer room to drop back and pass. What if you get called for a hold in the end zone? It doesn't have to be anything that you do incorrectly as an offense.
Yeah.
It can be a call from an official that takes the game away from you. What I'm saying is by running the ball, you make sure they use their timeouts. You limit the amount of things that can go wrong that can happen in that situation, and you trust your defense. If he throws a slant there and it's an incomplete pass, now they're left with one timeout, and the likelihood of them having a chance to get in is maybe even greater because they can take more shots. He throws that deep ball, does Matt Stafford, with 6 seconds at the end of regulation. They might have had 2 shots if you've got a timeout there. They probably get 2 shots at 2 chunk plays. Stafford had 6 completions today that were over 20 yards passing. He had like 6 or 7 explosives through the air. I'm not trusting at that point with a timeout that Matt Stafford's not going to get the job done, especially for how your pass coverage had been in the second half. They played it right. I'm not going to say, well, you're only saying this because it worked out. I'm saying it because it's the right play, because that's the smart move, is to run the ball, make them use their timeouts. We got to get you the injury report before we get to more of your thoughts. The injury report, which hoping is light today, sponsored by Habas Law. They'll fight to make it right. Visit habaslaw.com. Here's 49er head coach Kyle Shanahan on the injuries for today's game.
All right, the injuries from the game, guys. Kalia Davis had a hand, never returned, broken hand. We'll see tomorrow what we got to do with it. Yetur pulled his hamstring, never returned. D. Winters had a shoulder, he did return. Upton Stout left there at the end with an ankle.
There you go. How'd you think Upton Stout played today? I thought Siegel had his hands full.
I thought Stout had his hands full. I think it was kind of the quintessential, he battled. I know when he was out of the game, there was some question, did he have an injury? I don't think it was ever formally announced until Kyle acknowledged it after the game. exactly that he did have an injury. It looked like maybe they just pulled him off the field, which didn't make sense because I don't think he had played poorly enough to, say, get benched or anything like that. But teams attack him, and I think, he's a dog. Like, he battles. He gives up some plays, but he makes some plays. And I think what we're seeing is a young, talented nickel just learning on the fly and growing up each and every week as he gets more opportunities to go up against some of the best receivers in the game.
The Giants fan 707 checks in on YouTube and says, that quote, play it safe BS is weak. I'm sorry, Copes. They got lucky and they won anyway, but that was playing scared. I don't know how you can say that's playing scared when they went for it 3 times on 4th down and converted all of them. And Kyle ran his kicker out for a 59-yarder. That's the least playing scared kick decision I've ever seen. That's the smart decision. This isn't – I just saw somebody say on YouTube, everybody thinks it's mad. And I disagree with you, Giants fan 707. I think more often than not, coaches, that's not a conservative play. That's the play that says if in fact – and by the way, you have McCaffrey back there. I know you're not moving the ball great on the ground, but the strategy is make sure they have as few assets as possible, and your defense was playing okay at that point. I don't know why we're arguing this. It worked out and they won. I don't know why we're debating it.
Well, to me, I can't do it that backed up on the goal line. There's too many things that can go wrong.
You get one holding call that's just a little bit. It's a safety.
We just saw it.
And you're punting. We saw was it last week?
Yeah, it was Arizona.
It was Arizona.
Yeah, a week and a half ago.
Like, again, you can't. Again, you want to mitigate the amount of things that can go wrong. You leave it in your hands effectively if you hand it off to at least get the stop.
If you're on the 20 or the 30,
I'm with you.
Then I'm
throwing it on third down.
Then I'm throwing it on third
down.
At the
1 or the 2?
I'm even coming out and maybe play action on 2nd down. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be 3rd down. You can come back and run it on 3rd down at that point and make sure that it's only the one timeout that you have the potential to save them. I'm sorry, when you're backed up inside your 5-yard line, the move is not drop back and sling it. At that point, the move is to make sure that you can force them to use that timeout. To me, the hindsight is if they lose, everybody wants to call somebody for not having enough guts.
It would have been malpractice if they had lost this game after throwing it on 3rd down and giving the Rams leaving them with a timeout. That's what we'd be talking about. So when things work out, and it was again, I don't
because the likelihood is they're gonna be able to kick the field goal anyway. I think at that point, but they're going to be in very good position regardless if you don't pick it up. But what happens is if you give them the extra timeout, they're more apt to get the touchdown. I think the odds of them kicking the field goal are relatively the same, but if you give them the extra timeout, the odds of them scoring a touchdown go up to beat you. Field goal would not beat you in that situation.
I'm with you. The bigger problem for me is 49ers didn't finish in the red zone on opportunities that they had to put this game away on chances that they were given that were extra opportunities. That's more to the problem, I think, in the game. I think Kyle operated this to a T. I thought Robert Saleh had a great game as well. We'll talk more about this one. Adam Copeland, John Dickinson with you. The 49ers beat the LA Rams 26-23 in overtime. I don't know why we're arguing about anything. Mac Jones played great. They had a banged-up receiving core. They played great. Christian McCaffrey, 30 more touches. He's at 130 for the year. We'll talk more about this one as the Niners are alone in first place. 808 KMBR. Ed, I see you waiting on the line. We'll get to your call next on the Sports Leader.
Stafford takes, gives Kyron Williams, and he is...
Ball out!
He fumbled it! The Niners are saying they got it. The play was shy of the line to gain. Wait for a signal. They're unpiling everybody at the 1. The 49ers come out of there. Alfred Collins has the football. Oh!
Oh, and he just punched it out from Kyron
Whoa.
Williams and then held on to it.
Unbelievable play by Alfred Collins there as he punches it out at the 1-yard line. The Niners, much to the chagrin of many 49er fans, then run it 3 times, punt it back to the Rams, who kick a game-tying field goal. At the end of regulation, the Niners end up winning it in overtime. Another texter comes in here, 916, says, you could have passed it there from the 1-yard line. They were backed up against their own 2-yard line earlier in the game, and Mack threw them right down the field. 1 first down ends the game. I don't want to punt from my end zone when a touchdown beats you. It's not smart to throw for a first down. Game over. It's not smart to throw for the first time. I'm not really sure what you're saying. I know earlier in the game, JD and I were just looking at it, that series you're talking about. It was when the Niners were tied at 20, and that made it 23-20. They were backed up at their own 2. They did throw it a couple of times. The difference is they were inside of 3 minutes in the game. The game was tied. They were not looking to make the Rams use their timeouts.
Yeah.
It's different when you already have the lead.
You got to go score.
They were trying to go score to win the game. They were trying to deflate the Rams from having an opportunity to do just that. So I'm going to stand by it. I think Kyle Shanahan would do that 10 times out of 10. I think Sean McVay would tell you that was the right scenario. Sean McVay would also tell you he blew the play call, seemingly, on the final call of the game from the 49er 11-yard line when he gets stopped on 4th and 1. Why don't we make Alfred Collins there our player of the game with that game-saving fumble recovery?
We got to give Kendrick Bourne some love, man, somehow.
Well, you can give him love after I tell you the player of the game is sponsored by Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and tea proudly, and sponsored. Oh, no, that's it. Just grab a mug and tea proudly. You're going Ken Bourne after the game you had last week.
I got to go Kendrick Bourne. I got to give him his flowers for the way that he played in this game. Who was going to step up for the 49ers and catch passes from Mac Jones with them as injury-plagued as they were coming into this one on the short week? 10 catches for 142 yards, the 35-yard long. He had the one drop that did potentially cost him the opportunity to go up by 3 scores in the first half as they were dominating the game early. But I got to give it to Kendrick Bourne and our buddy Josh Dubow of the Associated Press. A quick little additional nugget on Bourne. 8 of the 10 catches were for first downs, the most by any 49ers player since George Kittle had 11 catches for first downs in 2020 during the COVID year at Levi's Stadium against the Eagles. So 8 first downs for Kendrick Bourne among those 10 catches.
808 KMBR 415-808-5627. The Niners have won it 26-23 in overtime. Let's go to Ed. Ed's in San Francisco. Wants to celebrate this one. Ed, what's up, man? You're on the Sports Leader.
Hey, before anything, I want to give JD and Popes. I want to say I'm part of the filthy, But I want to give you guys your flowers for holding it down. But absolutely, what a game! What a game! It's great we got the Hall of Famer number 8 because he spoke the truth. It was going to be like one of those heavyweight matches with back and forth. Hey, no, we didn't have a puncher's chance, right? We got in the ring. And we made it happen, and like the number 8 said it, hey, when Shanahan gets in there with McVay, who got the best play, and we were up 14-0, and things in the second half. Then McVay, it was just one of the greatest games to watch. One of the greatest games to watch. But the flowers to Mac Jones, man, just to hold the seat down, and the controversy of we paid somebody so much millions, and so what? So let it be it. Let's just give this man it's just his flowers. He did such an awesome job with the knee and everything. And let's just enjoy his victory. That's all I just wanted to call for. Let's just enjoy this victory. If you're a Niner fan, let's just enjoy this victory. All outside talk, let's just enjoy it. Thank you, fellas.
Much love, Ed. Appreciate the call, man. Thanks so much. A true member of the filth. Yeah, I'm with it, dude. I mean, Matt Jones. If you're in New England, I wonder what they're thinking right now. If they're in Jacksonville, I wonder what they're thinking about the performances of Mac Jones. Going, where was this guy? This is the guy that the Patriots drafted in the first round. He was the heir apparent to Tom Brady. And then, really, I said that's At the start of the year, we've talked about it at length, Derek and I have, and I love this quote from Tom Brady from last season. It's that organizations let down their young quarterbacks before young quarterbacks let down their organizations. A lot of times guys are drafted because a coach or a GM needs to save his job or they're desperate for this to work out. They oftentimes put guys in a bad situation. He had Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, did Mac Jones, calling offensive plays for – imagine that. A guy who was a defensive coordinator, had been a failed head coach with the Detroit Lions, and was a respected D coordinator, but albeit under Bill Belichick, who you know is operating the defense in New England, and a former special teams coordinator and failed head coach of the New York Giants, and Joe Judge. Both of these guys tried to move to the offensive side of the ball. They were joint play callers that year for Mac Jones, and the wheels came off. They didn't trust him. They couldn't move the ball. Josh McDaniels, to those two guys, was disastrous for a guy in his second year trying to find footing in the NFL. And now, much like Sam Darnold, who was a young quarterback who struggled in New York, who struggled in Carolina, I don't know what the future holds for Mac Jones, but he's looked better in these 3 games than I can remember him ever looking in terms of comfortability, preparation, to know where to go with the ball, and that's what Kyle Shanahan does. It's why he's been able to start 7 quarterbacks in, 9 years now against the LA Rams, and why he's got an 11-7 record against them. He gets the most out of his guys. Nicky Mullins, by the way, how about this note? Mac Jones, the first 49er quarterback to have 19 or more passing first downs in a game since Nick Mullins did it against the Giants back in 2020. Was that the same game George Kittle had the 11?
That was it wasn't, but
it was a different game.
But that was the game after Nick Bosa got the ACL. They played the back-to-back games
against the Jets and the Giants.
Against the Jets and the Giants. They also lost Jimmy Garoppolo in that game. So remember that was the game that everyone anointed Nick Mullins.
Yeah.
And then he fell back to earth. The next game against Philly, that was the game on Sunday Night Football.
That was a tough game.
That George Kittle had
That's
the
right.
catches in.
That was a tough
It was
game.
consecutive weeks, though.
Yeah, it was consecutive weeks. And Nick Mullins, by the way, helping George Kittle set the all-time single-season tight end receiving record until it was broken the following year. Let's go to John. John is in Alaska, 808 KMBR, 415-808-5627. John celebrating a Niner win in Alaska. What's going on, John? You're on the Sports Leader.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to Coach Shanahan and the staff for this week. Everybody remembers the end of every season. We win the Super Bowl, maybe NFC title game, we get blown out, a lot of heartbreak along the way. But those guys went to work this week and kept this season alive. So if we do go somewhere, remember this week.
Appreciate the call, John. Thanks so much. No, I'm with you. I mean, there are wins that mean more, seemingly, to fan bases and wins that you remember. Like, this is one that I feel like I'm going to remember for a long time. This is one of my favorite Niner wins. That's why, I don't really have a problem. I know people are griping about what should have happened. Who cares? They won, and I disagree that, look, you need luck to win games anyway, of course. Things have to go your way. I mean, a missed extra point, or excuse me, a blocked extra point, a missed kick. Eddie Pinheiro scrapes one in that goes just off the inside of the upright.
The unforced turnover with Corum and Stafford. The drop by Kyron Williams. And look, Bournehead drops, and I understand things go against him. But, yeah, the 49ers did have a bunch of those plays work to their favor tonight.
Yeah.
But you know what? You put yourself in position where all those plays mattered and proved to be the difference because they came out and were dominant early in the game. They were by far the team that was more ready and prepared to play on a short week, which I think is a testament to the guys in the locker room, but it's a testament to the coaching staff, given where coming off of how they played Sunday at Levi's against the Jags, and also, Copes, so banged up. Yeah. How do you find the fight when you look around that locker room and can see all of the talent that you're not going to have available? That, to me, and Kyle said it in the postgame press conference, character win. I think it's one of the top handful of character wins in the Shanahan era, to be perfectly honest.
Certainly for me, I think it's better than anything they pulled off in their 6 victories last year.
Yeah.
They were scraping to get by last year, and it felt like this could have gone that route, that they could have been scraping to get by this season. I mean, we were talking before the game that, hey, at 3-3, if you lose this one in next week, not all that big of a deal in terms of where you stand. You still have an opportunity to build. Now the expectations are still there. You can win a game like this, and when Brock comes back, there will be eyeballs on him to say, hey, can you do what we've seen this team do without its best pieces? I mean, Derek and I were talking during the show this week, and he said, well, you needed the guys around Brock to step up more. They needed to give him more than they did. I agree. They lost all 3 phases of that game last week, and Brock did make mistakes. Mac was as close to perfect as you could ask him to be today. I mean, did not turn the ball over, did not make any errant throws really, fit some balls in some really tight windows, was great under pressure. I saw a couple of next-gen stats where his completion percentage when he was being pressured, which was a lot of the time. By the way, he took some hits, he got up, he made more throws, and he gutted his way through this ball game. So when you talk character win, I'm absolutely with you. I also look at this and go, when they get more healthy, because, again, you're never going to get fully healthy. When they get these weapons back, though, I mean, it's time to go. You have an opportunity to create some space here.
And I give Mac even more credit for the fact that what do we always talk about with Mac Jones? We talked about it in New Orleans. We talked about it against Arizona. Mac has been a quarterback throughout his career that has looked really good in stretches, but it seemingly has always followed up with the catastrophic mistake. He did not make a catastrophic mistake tonight. He did not. Like when the Rams are coming back and it becomes a close game, if he throws a pick six or a bad pick, or if any of that, if that Mac Jones pops up, we're talking about a bad Mac Jones game, even though a lot of it was a really good Mac Jones game. He gets the credit for avoiding making the losing play, because much of his career, Copes, has been defined by the fact that even when he plays well, he would make the losing play, and that's what he would be remembered for, and why teams would be, like the Patriots, in a position to want to move on from him.
I used to feel like that about Aaron Brooks when he was with the Raiders. He was just good enough to lose games. They'd have a lead into the fourth, then he'd throw the pick, or he'd fumble the ball, he'd make the mistake, the errant throw that screwed you out of the game. I saw people checking in on the YouTube chat. Somebody said, "How is this Cope's favorite game?" Our favorite win. What about the Lions win the NFC Championship? I just said it's one of my favorite wins in that
And regular season's
again,
different. We're talking regular season.
And again, I didn't say this is my favorite game ever. This is my favorite victory for the Niners ever. Well, this to me was a fun win because of what it took this team to get here, and because of what we just came off of. I mean, 3 days ago we're talking about this Jaguars loss at Levi Stadium on Sunday afternoon, and it was a bottom-out type of loss. They lost badly in all three phases. So the people who are saying it's a bad decision to run it from the goal line, I'm going, I don't know, man. Based on how you played last week, I think they made all the smart decisions here. They did not make any mental mistakes, really, in this game that cost them. And, again, you came away victorious. I'm not going to second-guess decisions that happened on the field after a victory where they played out in the way you wanted the strategy to play out that you didn't get the stop. What I will say is when you've got backups who step up in the way that these guys did.
And young players.
It was a knock-them-down, drag-them-out type of game. The Rams were an 8.5-point favorite. An 8.5-point favorite. How many teams go 3-0 with their backup quarterback? I thought it was a gritty win. I thought it was a fun win. It was an exciting game, and it got to a point where I didn't expect to win this game coming in. I thought they had a shot. I didn't expect to.
We both liked him to cover, though.
We both liked him to cover. I texted you right around halftime, JD, and I said in the press box, I said, it's getting to the point in this game where if they don't win now, it's a disappointment.
And my goodness, it would have been a major disappointment.
Which is funny because coming in,
it would have been a greater disappointment than when you mentioned it. And I said, oh, yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Copes.
A lot of fans coming in, I think, didn't expect to win it. A lot of fans yesterday were saying, oh, the text line to me 34-3, 34-10.
It also wouldn't have been the kind of game that you would, in my mind, have the right to be irate about them losing, considering the circumstances.
But when you have the shot they had.
But when you have the shot they had, you have to cash it in. And I think it became a game that if you lose it, it has the potential to really set the rest of the season in a bad way. Anytime you waste an effort like that, because guess what? You're still going to be as banged up next week against Tampa in all likelihood as you were tonight, or pretty close to it, even with the extra rest time. And Tampa is a very good team that could also beat you. So when you it all comes down to, and this is the one thing the 49ers could not do last year, they couldn't stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
There are games in every team season, and I'm not even saying tonight was one of these games specifically going into it, but there are games that pop up on the schedule in every team season that you just have to get, otherwise they can turn into 3 or 4 or a 6 out of 7 or something that really can. And tonight maybe wouldn't have been that. Next week I don't think necessarily would have been that. The Atlanta game I think would be one of those games at Levi's if you had dropped 3 in a row after winning the first 3. But because you're able to win this game, all of that now gets wiped away. Nobody's thinking about next week like, oh my God, if you lose that game, if you lose that game, the season is falling apart. No, you just come back and you get the Atlanta game and you go from there, and then there's going to be other games to win on the schedule, at different points down the line.
Niners are in first place by themselves now in the NFC West. They don't get to sit back.
And 3-0 in the division. They're halfway done with their division games. Not even a third of the way into the year, and they've won 3 times the amount that they did last year.
They'll get to sit back and watch the rest of the teams play here in Week 5. Adam Copeland, John Dickinson with you. The Niners are 4-1. We are streaming on thesportsleader.com and the TheSportsLeader app, as well as our YouTube channel, and we'll be with you for about another half hour here as we wrap up the Niners and the LA Rams. We'll get more of your calls. Rick Monday, I see you waiting on the line. We'll get to you next, only here on The Sports Leader. Adam Copeland, John Dickinson with you. The Niners beat the Rams 26-23 at SoFi Stadium. In Inglewood, they're 3-0 in the division, 4-1 overall. Somebody checked in here at 808 KMBR on the Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line at 707. Says, hey, do you guys think when the Niners were backed up in their own end zone, they should have taken a safety when they were punting? JD? The Niners were up 23-20 at the time. With under a minute to play. My buddy texted me that too, said, would you take a safety here? And I said, no. I would throw it before I take a safety. The safety there means, first of all, you allowed a punt return for a touchdown last week.
Right. Well, but
you've allowed a kick return several times to put them in range. You're under a minute to play. You give them 2 points, and then you have to punt it back to them. They're 2 chunk plays away, and they've already picked up several of those through the air. you're 2 chunk plays away at that point. And if you'd thrown it on third down, everybody, they would have had a timeout to come down and kick a field goal to win the game. Everybody who says they should have thrown it on third down there, if it gets batted into the air and picked, and he had a couple that were batted today, did Mac, or he throws it in completion, or he throws a pick, everybody is losing their minds about why Kyle would do that. I don't think it's conservative to strategically make your opponent, when you have the lead with under a minute, use their timeouts and make them go beat your defense, who, by the way, have played pretty well to this point. I've loved what we've seen from the young defenders, tenacity, some youth today in the secondary with Upton Stout, who did get banged up. Marquise Siegel, I thought, kind of baptism by fire today and made some mistakes.
Bernardo Green, I thought, had a good game. We haven't mentioned him. I thought he had a good game. I just think,
Alfred Collins. The young guys, they needed a hit on this draft, and the young guys got sort of a statement win today.
And the challenge of going up against the receivers, to have Nakua and Devontae Adams and Tutu Atwell, that is a trio of guys, and Atwell can really stretch the field. Adams is one of the great, number one type receivers, even at a more advanced age now. Nakua has been the best receiver, maybe the best offensive player in the NFL to this point this year. But to have a trio like that and a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, I thought the Rams moved it on him at will a lot. But the 49ers had them out of sorts early in the game and, again, won enough of the big moments as the game went along to make it stand up. And that's really, I think, been the testament. There have been times where the Niners defense has been beatable. There have been times where the Niners defense has been dominant. But the one thing that has been true in these games that they've won is they've come up big in the big moments. And that, to me, feels like a Robert Saleh-led trait. Because it really does feel like, the 2019 defense was far more dominant and better than this defense. But what did that defense do? They when they needed to, won the big moments and came up with the plays that they absolutely had to have, a la that 2019 Week 17 game at Seattle where they're getting stops on the 1-inch line to get the 1 seed and to win the division.
Dan Buns-like in that
they've
play,
had,
right?
They've had those plays pop up, and they've made them, made one in Seattle, made one in New Orleans, made one tonight.
Let's go out to the phone lines at 808-KMBR, 415-808-5627. One of our great callers calls frequently to Dirty Work, a member of the Filth. It's our guy, Rick. He usually calls on Mondays, so we call him Rick Monday. What up, Rick? You're on the Sports Leader.
Adam, from now on, I'm never going to listen to you. I'm going to bet the opposite way. You and Derek made me – I was laughing yesterday. Not that you weren't right. I agreed that I thought this team was well understaffed and was probably the underdog by the right amount of points tonight. But the tenacity and the play of Mac Jones was incredible tonight. The guy, he reminds me of a Steve Young cross. Name a running back from the great '80s team. He just had the intangibles tonight. Now, granted, I think Sean McVay lost the game for the Rams. The Rams should have won that game 3 times over. This is ridiculous. If I were on LA radio right now, I'd be screaming for Sean McVay to give an explanation as to why he lost the game. Anyways, I hope you got to see the game. I wasn't able to listen today, so I don't know if you were at the game.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad you got to see it, dude. You probably saw one of the best games in 3 or 4 years, I think.
That's what I'm saying, man. That somebody came at me on the YouTube and said, how could this be one of his favorite games? I said, I think this is one of my favorite wins, especially in covering the team because of what you think could happen, how it could play out. And I really, yesterday, when Derek and I were talking about it, and JD and I on the pregame, we both said we would take the points. I said, I don't think if the Niners lose, it's going to be as big of a discrepancy as the spread says. But I also thought if they were to win, it would be like a 17-14, a 17-10. Like, if they were going to win, I didn't think it was going to be, they'd be back and forth trying to put up points. But this was a fun win, Rick. And how about this note? Just real quick for the young defense that we keep talking about. They're one of 2 remaining teams in the NFL who have not allowed a point in the first quarter of a game this year. How about that? I need to like your notes, Rick.
Hey,
that's pretty good, man. We'll talk to you soon. Yeah,
Adam,
what you got?
Adam, how many 49er fans were at the game today?
Dude, I would say
70%.
JD, would you say 70% of the 70%?
I would say 70%.
When you heard a cheer, you knew it was something for the Niners. I can tell you that, Rick. I appreciate the call, man. We got to run, but that's kind of how it goes here. Like, they're doing Rams, whose house, and you hear like Niner, like it's
always cracks me
It's
up.
the flip on when Dodger fans show up to Oracle Park. The difference here is I talked to several 49er fans who are just LA people. You know what I mean? They're just
Yeah.
This guy told me big.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of Niner Dodger fans.
Well, dude, this guy tried to go. Yeah, all the Cali teams, and I go, no, don't. You don't get to Cali team me when you're cheering for the rally monkey down at Angel Stadium. All right, let's go to how about this, dude? Something we've never done before. I don't think we've ever taken 2 calls in one 49er postgame show from the great state of Alaska. John is in Anchorage. What up, John? You're on the Sports Leader.
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm just so excited after the game. Got back from watching it. I just went and took a half-hour run. Man, I just get all the energy out listening to you guys. But, man, I agree with you. That's one of the most funnest regular season wins. It might be recency bias, but that was just fun,
Sure.
man. And, I mean, I'm not going to get into too much of the X's and O's, but, man, we just showed so much grit, so much heart. I just could be proud of the effort we put through. I mean, to see Salah back pumping his fists, I mean, I'm so glad we got that guy back and got what's his face up on out of here from last year. I don't even remember his name now. We won't speak of him. But I just could be proud of the effort. Just all grit, all heart, all gas, no brakes. I mean, just let's keep it going. That was just – I'm just proud of the effort, and that's all.
I love the hype, John. I appreciate it. Good vibes, man. Enjoy the run and enjoy the rest of your evening, dude. Yeah, it's a pride win for sure. It's a win that makes you feel proud because, again, we can sit here, we can nitpick things that people didn't like. And if we're nitpicking here after this kind of win with what they had to work with today, I mean, again, the receiving core, Mac Jones started 8 of 8, and he had 5 different receivers. He was throwing dimes on that opening drive. He started as sharp as he could have started. The young defense held the Rams to 3 possessions in the first half. 3 possessions in the first half and forced a fumble and got a sack from Bryce Huff. They took advantage of some of the mistakes. Some of them they didn't, and some of the opportunities weren't there. But they needed, as I said, they had to thread the needle. They needed some breaks in this one. They got them, and they executed.
I will say this to the defense. They forced the punt on the first Rams possession. The Rams were moving it on the second possession, and that was the unforced turnover, the fumble. Mm-hmm. They score a touchdown on that third possession of the first half, and that was it for the first half. They moved it to begin the second half, missed a field goal. So the Niners caught a break there. So that's 2 breaks they caught when the Rams were moving it that I do think were unforced breaks. Then the Rams score another touchdown. Then they score another touchdown. And then the PAT is blocked, which proves to be a huge impact in this game because it eventually went to overtime. So for that chunk of the game, the Niners went from the first possession the Rams had all the way up until late basically in the game without getting a stop at all other than a missed field goal and or the unforced turnover. So, but they made enough of those big plays. I don't think the defense – I know, and you get credit for the big stops, and you absolutely deserve credit for the big stops. In the grand scheme of things, though, I don't think the defense played that well other than maybe that first possession until – or with the exception of those big plays. The forced fumble and the fourth down stop are freaking massive.
Paramount
and you did force a punt in the fourth quarter also when you had to force a punt. So
yeah. Again, I love the note. I love the note, too, that they only ran the ball 16 times at the Rams, and 15 of them gained yardage. The only one that didn't was that final play that ended the game for the 49ers, to which Demo Lenore said, we knew what play they were running based on how they lined up. Credit to Kyle Shanahan for calling the timeout on the defensive side. No credit to Sean McVay, who calls a second timeout after maybe trying to draw the Niners off sides to pick up the first down. And if they pick it up, I'm resigned to the Niners' fate at that point. Yeah. I was resigned to the fate when Kyron fumbled. When Alfred Collins punches it out, I was feeling like this game was going the way of the Rams until he punches it out and makes a play. That's what I say about defenders. You can go out and make something happen and turn the game on its head. But this was a pride win for sure. And, dude, Mac Jones, remember I was saying during the Cardinal game, he's got the jersey ripped. He's got all the markings and the grass stains and the dirt on his jersey. He's limping to the line at the end of the game, and he's running that offense in the 2-minute offense to get down there and kick a field goal to win it. Then you got this one where Trent Williams is peeling him off the turf and he's getting up and he's throwing darts. You have him limping off the field, doubled over almost. Adrian Martinez is asking for water, and then they got to go to overtime. And the camera, I remember, it cuts to Mac Jones, and he's sitting there on the bench with his hat on going, I know. I'm ready to go. I'm going to go do it. This guy is battered. He's banged up. He's wearing the two-face suit. I mean, what do you give me for this guy in Rocky and Rocky 2 when he and Apollo Creed are going toe-to-toe and slugging each other, and he just keeps getting back up?
Gutsy. I mean, he's just all guts. He's just all guts, and he's got the arm strength. And again, he and Kyle have a thing going. He and Kyle with the play calling and the way he executes Kyle's plays. And, I think it's not necessarily a debate for tonight, but there's something for, he's less mobile, so his movements have to be on schedule, right? It has to be in the design of the play. The other thing he does, tough as nails, he hangs in. He hangs in and is unafraid to take a hit, to make a throw. He
got that one on third down where he got destroyed and it was down for a minute, and I was worried about that. I was like, oh, boy.
Absolutely.
I don't know how they come away with this.
So there's a toughness, and I'll say this. The one thing I didn't think he had in the bag that he does, his arm strength is better than I thought. His arm strength is better than I thought it was. Going back to his time with the Patriots.
7:07 on the Golden State Lumber Showroom text line says, I'm expecting Dwayne from Stockton to call into dirty work tomorrow and say Mac Jones is and should be the starter. 7:07, Derek texted me that before the game was over. I was like, dude, if Mac Jones wins this game without Bosa, without all these starters, without the receivers, it's going to be a loud day. It's going to be a wet dream day for our guy Dwayne in Stockton.
I don't think there's necessarily a controversy right now because Brock Purdy's hurt. Now, does there come a point where if Mac Jones, let's say, plays another 3, 4, 5 games and the Niners win most of those games, then I think maybe there is a conversation to be had as the 49ers start to get held. That's just reality. Because the other part of this is you look at Brock Purdy and the injury, and I go back to the report from Rap Sheet that we referenced early on in the program.
Yep.
If this truly is a setback for Brock in the Jags game, given what the timeline was going to be for him to get healthier, if it's turf toe does not get better over the course of a season. It only gets worse as you play on it. The only way turf toe gets better
is rest.
And months.
And months, yeah.
Like you can.
Well, it depends on
it's
the grade
pain
too,
management.
but it's dependent about how far it got, how bad it got.
And it's pain management. Sure. Yes, on that level, it's can you play effectively through the pain. And you really have to do it until the season is over, and then you rest it, and then it heals, and then you're good to go, at 100% for the next season. So that's going to be something that the 49ers are going to have to weigh, given, let's say, how compromised, how only they know how compromised was Brock in the game, how much of his performance was because of the injury. It's not an excuse. It's a reason to make a decision as to which quarterback gives you the best chance to win. A compromised Brock Purdy that's going to play like he did against the Jags, or a Mac Jones who's been able to grit and grind it out here in these 3 games in which he's been the starter.
Yeah, dude, as I said, I felt like I said Rocky 2, but I think I'm going maybe Rocky 3 for Mac Jones. When it goes to overtime, they look over at him and he goes, I hear no bell. And he's ready to go toe-to-toe yet again with this Rams defense.
Maybe if Mac plays an extended period, he struggles to a point where it's like, all right, Purdy's healthier. It's time to go back to Purdy. But that is the path that we're headed on.
Or he gets more comfortable. I mean, we'll see.
But we're headed on that path of it becoming a thing. I think right now, because Brock's hurt, it's not really a thing. It's just Mac's job, as long as he's healthy enough to have it, because he keeps getting banged up in all of these games. And as you said, he's ready. Yo, Adrian.
Yo, I ain't hear no bell. Brett says, hey, Cobes, favorite Rocky movie? Definitely 4. Dude, I will never understand why anybody's favorite Rocky is Rocky 4. Like 90% of the movie is montages. It's like Drago's a fine villain and all that. It's definitely not Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is probably my 4th favorite Rocky. If we're excluding Creeds, Rocky 4 is like my 4th favorite. 5 is unwatchable.
I'm a 3 guy.
I'm a 3 guy.
I'm a 3 guy.
Dude, it's where Eye of the Tiger comes from. I'm going with 3 at first and foremost.
And the original. And the first
number one, which
one.
Didn't it win Best Picture?
No.
Like Best Original Screenplay. I mean, he was Oscar nominated and all that. 2 is fun because 2 is, yo, Adrian, I did it. That's when he says that one after he beats Creed.
I'm 1-3-3-1.
I think I'm 3. I think I'm 3-1-2. I think I'm 3-1-2 or 3-2-1. Then I'm 4.
Then I'm out.
I'm
3-2-1 and I'm out.
Yeah, Rocky 2 is incredible.
3-1-2, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not counting the Creed movies. Those are on their own.
Yep.
Rocky Balboa's like, what? I got too old to. I got too many birthdays to have a fight. I'm like, Rocky, you're 70, man. Hang him up.
What's your prediction for the fight then? Prediction? Yes, prediction. Pain.
Yeah, that's what Mac Jones said as he jogged onto the field for overtime to the Rams fans. Adam Copeland, John Dickinson with you. The Niners have beaten the Rams at SoFi Stadium 26-23, and they did it behind Mac 10. Mac Jones leads him to victory today, as well as this young 49er defense. We got more to come before we put this thing to bed. It's the Niners over the Rams, and it's only here on the Sports Leader.
So first down at the 6. Robinson and Tonjes to the right. Juszczyk and Farrell to the left. McCaffrey shifts out from under center. Mac Jones takes, and he throws. It's a touchdown. Touchdown, 49ers on the opening drive of the game. A couple of penalties, and they can't be stopped.
What a call by Guy Haberman. Guy and Tim all over it today. A great call by those two guys right here on The Sports Leader. And by the way, you can hear all of the rest of the 2025 49ers season right here on KMBR 104.5 and 680, The Sports Leader, and of course streaming our pre- and post-game shows live on YouTube, twitch.tv/TheSportsLeader, KMBR.com, and the Sports Leader app. We will make that opening drive touchdown to Jake Tonjes our drive of the game, sponsored by El Cerrito Honda. More than just a car dealership, we're family. The 3 key possessions in a game for the 49ers, and really for anybody. The opening drive, the drive right before the end of the half, and if you're Kyle Shanahan, you want to end it with the ball like they did today and kicking a field goal at the very least, and then the drive to open the second half, if you can be Kyle and get the ball back, which they didn't today because they started the game with it, then you win those 3 possessions. Oftentimes, if you win the turnover battle, you're going to win the game. The Niners today did get, I guess in those 2 possessions, 13 total points. A field goal on their first drive of the second half, a touchdown to open the game that you heard right there, and the field goal to end the first half. But we should point out also, Jake Tonjes' 3rd touchdown grab of the year. You've got 4 touchdowns now from tight ends not named George Kittle, which is pretty incredible. In the last 3 years, you'd only had 2 combined in games without George Kittle from tight ends. We should also point out that's the Niners' first opening drive touchdown since week 1.
We were talking before the game about what's the best position group on the 49ers. We mentioned, I think, every position group except tight end. Tight end's been a good position group.
Yeah,
this is the deepest tight end room I think they've had in terms of productivity.
Who'd have thought?
And it's, obviously Kittle, when he's in action, he's a monster. But Tonjes, going back to the game in Seattle, he's a productive pass catcher. Farrell has been a productive pass catcher and somebody they trust in the run game. They've got 3 tight ends that all can help in their own way. Obviously, though, you want to get George Kittle back. And it sounds like Kittle coming back for Tampa is at least on the table.
Yeah, we talked to Matt Mayoko before the game, and I asked him, have you heard anything about, setbacks or, because if you open the practice window for Kittle, I guess they could do it as early as after you've missed 4 games. It's not even weeks, it's 4 games, so I guess they could open the practice window for Kittle as soon as they go back to practice
Monday.
in a couple of days, Monday, whenever they get back on the practice field. And if, in fact, they do open it up for him, I would anticipate, unless there's a big setback, that he'd probably be limited at first and then would be good to go by the weekend. We'll see how much he's part of the game plan. But
maybe they give him a week to practice and then give him another week. You bring him back against Atlanta.
maybe, but you do have a little bit extra time here, so they haven't officially opened that window where he's on the field with them, but we'll see how that shakes out. 707 checks in on the text line, says, hey, did Derek text you about how wrong he was about the Niners getting blown out? No. We'll save that for Dirty Work tomorrow at 2 o'clock after I get back into the studio. We'll take a quick break here. We'll be signing off at about 11 o'clock here. Adam Copeland, John Dickinson with you as the Niners have beaten the L.A. Rams from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, 26-23. We'll sign off next, only here on The Sports Leader.
Yeah, no, it takes everybody, right? It's not just one or two guys who are making the plays. It's truly a collective effort. This is the truest team sport in all of sports, in my opinion, right? And it took everybody today to find a way to win.
Undoubtedly, one of the 49ers defensive captains, Fred Warner, just always playing his ass off, is Fred Warner, man. And he's right. It's a team win. They needed everybody who was a warm body for this one. Adam Copeland, John Dickinson, getting ready to sign off here as the 49ers beat the Rams 26-23. They're in first place by themselves. We'll have to look this up. I've got to get some notes or hit Josh Dubow about this of the AP. The last time a team was 4-1 and did not have a rushing touchdown or an interception in the first 5 games of the season. I mean, they've won a lot of close games here, and we'll see if at some point you get one of those Kyle Shanahan 49er blowouts, but as long as they put games away in the way they did today, I don't think anybody's too concerned about that. It's going to be an uphill battle, but you got the 3 in hand. It's all about winning your division games. And by the way, a funny line from Mac Jones here. He said, Kyle was like, quote, dude, I can't believe they moved us to underdogs again, or like more of underdogs or whatever. And I was like, I don't know what that means, said Mac Jones. Mac didn't care. Mac's out here to sling footballs and win games. See, I'm here to chew bubblegum and win football games, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Mac Jones is 3-0 and has people thinking about 5-1 maybe next week against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a hot one down in Tampa. Final thought from you, JD?
Yeah, and for all the games we've talked about that the 49ers didn't win last year, and there's been 2 of them that they've won this year, both in the division, the game at SoFi, the game at home against Arizona. Interestingly enough, the game at Tampa was a game they did win last year before everything kind of fell apart on them there in the middle of November. So, yeah, they know Tampa well. They know playing there, they winning there last year in a thriller, an overtime game, a game kind of like the game tonight, to be honest. It was really kind of the last gut check before everything fell apart, kind of a win that the 49ers had a year ago. But great opportunity. I mean, just I can't say enough just the difference between what 4-1 sets up for you here moving forward versus what 3-2 would have been going to Tampa. Huge games from Mac, huge games from Kendrick Bourne, huge games from the 49er defense in the big moments, even though there were times the Rams really ran it on them. And just as Kyle Shanahan said, a character win.
Well, we're getting ready to sign off here. Adam Copeland, John Dickinson with you. We will be back with you for 49er pregame next Sunday. By the way, that game time has been changed. It is no longer in the 10 a.m. window against the Buccaneers. It is now in the 1 o'clock window. So the Niners kick off against the Bucs 1:25 local time. We'll have it all for you right here on The Sports Leader. Also, we'll be with you 10 a.m. that Sunday. That's next Sunday, 10 days away. So the Niners get a little mini bye here before they get back after it. I'll be back with you tomorrow to wrap up the week. A Friday on Dirty Work. Myself, D-Pop, and Tim Webb with you from 2 till 6. You off tomorrow?
As of now, although, As of now.
Well, good. Good on you. You'll make sure you're listening for JD all next week on The Sports Leader, and, of course, with your Warrior coverage right around the corner with some Dubs OT and some weekend Dubs as well. Signing off here, Adam Copeland for John Dickinson. Thanks to everybody back at the Cambier Studios as well who got us on and moving today. Our guy Kyle Haar, Tim Webb, our producer, Ryan McCarthy, our sound editor, Austin Scott, Michael McConnell. Is that his last name? McConnell?
Michael McConnell.
Mr. Cambier.
Michael Connell.
Just
to call him drop the Mick.
I like the Mick. We'll call him Mick Connell. Doing all of our digital work here and making sure we are up and streaming.
Mikey Smokes.
On thesportsleader.com and the app. The 49ers have beaten the LA Rams 26-23. The sports continue only here on The Sports Leader.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.